I sponsored legislation that led to the Broadband Strategy Council, which then led to the granting of stimulus grant gave rise to the Three-Ring Binder Project, which then I sponsored legislation to kind of create this dark fiber entity that enabled this new project, 1,100 miles of fiber optic cable, to be attached to telephone poles, which expands broadband significantly in rural Maine and connects Maine to the global economy. And then after that, my long-term plan was to, and continues to be, but it's a little bit different now, the vision was to, if we had this build out of infrastructure of high-speed internet around the state, then we could attract a green data mill. I think I was at a couple of conferences that just talked about economic development and economic development specifically for rural states, and I was just fascinated by the opportunities that the internet presents to small businesses, women-owned businesses, rural businesses, just things that I really care about. And that's a really good question, and I'm interested in knowing as well, but I don't have the actual numbers of jobs. I know that construction crews are building out the Three-Ring Binder Project, and that Maine Fiber Company itself has employed people. And for instance, I was up in Washington County talking to Susan Corbett at Axiom Technologies, and she showed me how the Three-Ring Binder sort of connects into their company, and she described some of the jobs that were created in Washington County as a result. So there are jobs that were created. I don't have the exact number. I think at every step, I think even though construction jobs are temporary, for a family, a temporary job is a good thing. And so I think that you could look at it from, at every step and calculate the number of jobs, and now is a fair time. Yeah. And I think, I think, and the federal government has incredible reporting requirements. It's never just, we want to build infrastructure, we want to have a road system. It's like we want to have a road system because we need a road system that our economy can operate on. And so there was, I think, not only the need for infrastructure, but how we're going to use the infrastructure to create jobs and move Maine forward. And so the Green Data Center just seemed to me, I don't want to say no-brainer because it's used too often, but it was one of those, light bulb moments. Same thing when I saw the vision of the Three-Ring Binder Project on the wall in Dartmouth. That was somebody else's brilliance that led to that, but it just, in my mind, it was like, it just clicked, like, oh, this is brilliant, like, we have to do this. In the Green Data Center, it seemed like we have these mills that are shut down on these big rivers that, and a need for jobs, and we're going to have this infrastructure in place, and cloud computing is taking off. This is perfect. It never was concrete enough. Like, we didn't have a location, we didn't have a company, we didn't have any, the specifics weren't even near being in place to have any kind of estimation. It just seemed like, there's a growth in the data mill industry. There's a need for data mills that use, that need cooling, that need a lot of power, not a lot of natural disaster risk, and a lot of space, and we have that in Maine. So it seemed like there was an opportunity, but I can't say with any degree of certainty that there would be X number of jobs because there's just so many unknowns.